So one of the more important parts of electrochemistry, especially for students in, general chemistry, AP chemistry, is going to be the voltaic cell. Now, a voltaic cell is defined as a device in which a spontaneous oxidation-reduction reaction occurs with the passage of electrons through an external circuit. So it's hard to really understand what a voltaic cell is from that definition. The best way to figure it out and understand is going to be from a figure, from a picture. And that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to draw you a picture of what a common voltaic cell would be. So our reaction here for this, we're going to have zinc solid plus copper 2 plus aqueous gives us zinc 2 plus aqueous plus copper solid. So that's our redox reaction. We can split it into the two half reactions. We have the reduction half reaction, which is going to be copper 2 plus 2 electrons to give us copper solid. And then the oxidation half reaction, zinc solid to zinc 2 plus 2 electrons. And notice here for the balancing, there's no oxygens or hydrogens in this, so you balance it just like any reaction. The electrons cross each other out on both sides, and you get the total reaction that we have written above. So that's the reaction we have going on. All right, so what does a voltaic cell look like? Well, I'm going to have two beakers. So 2 beakers. Each of the beakers will have an electrode, and I'm going to put the electrode in brown. Electrode, electrode. The electrodes are connected via a circuit. So this is where the electrons are transported. There's another structure that we have in here. I'm going to put that in purple. This is the salt bridge. So the salt bridge is necessary to carry counter ions. So if you remember from the reaction, we've got copper 2 plus to copper solid, and then zinc solid to zinc 2 plus. So we have to have anions in here as well. So that's one of the things that the salt bridge will carry. The two electrodes are going to be called the anode. So this is the anode, and this is the cathode. The anode is the site of oxidation. The cathode is the site of reduction. Now, the way I remember it is vowels, anode, oxidation, both start with a vowel. Consonants, C and R, for cathode and reduction. So that's how I remember the cathode is the site of reduction, the anode is the site of oxidation. All right, now here's where it's a little confusing. The anode has a negative charge. The cathode has a positive charge. At first, that seems the opposite of what it should be. Because if the anode is the site of oxidation, right, I'm oxidizing my zinc to zinc 2 plus, right, that's a positive charge. But I'm producing electrons, right, that's one thing. I'm producing electrons at the anode. The other reason it's negatively charged is when I'm going from, okay, so I'm going to put the zinc here in green. So initially I have zinc solid on this anode, binded to it. But then the zinc is going to come off to give me zinc 2 plus, and then the 2 electrons. I have to balance the charge of the zinc 2 plus. And I'm going to draw the electrons actually coming off up here, right? Because the electrons are going from the anode to the cathode. So I have 2 plus here. I need to balance that. So I'm going to have negative ions coming in. So that could be like nitrate, for example, might be coming in from the salt bridge. Because all of this is taking place in solution, right? There's a solution in both of these with ions and aqueous solution and stuff. So I'll draw the salt bridge then down into the solution, which is what it would have to be. Okay, so then copper I'm going to draw in orange. Initially, I have copper 2 plus floating in solution. And then it's going to turn into copper solid and bind onto the cathode. This one is a positively charged site because one, the electrons, I'm not producing electrons from the oxidation reaction, right? The electrons are binding with copper to form copper solid. The other part is I'm losing a cation into a solid. So that means I have to replace the cation with something like sodium, for example, will come in because I have to balance the charge in the solution. So those are the two reasons that you would consider the cathode as the positively charged site, even though, again, you have electrons as reactant. Okay, another way to remember what's going on with this is anions always migrate to anode. Anions always migrate to anode. So that would be A. Anions always migrate to anode. Cations always migrate to cathode. C. There's a lot going on here with this voltaic cell, but hopefully the ways that I gave you to help remember what the anode and the cathode are will help you with structuring and generating and drawing these voltaic cells in the future.